Tell me now, who can you trust?
Whatever we do, change is coming. It's coming with the implosion of our imperium, and it's coming with the rapid degradation of the ecosystem itself. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. It's how we cope with this change. Will we respond actually? Will we learn to speak to the world with a new humility? Will we learn to speak to the world with theories for sustainability? Or will we continue to live in illusion? And in a way, it's a matter of awakening ourselves by the reality and responding to it.
Just throw it up on a Tuesday. Anyways, whoa, shit. What's up, man? Welcome back to another episode of the best worst show on the internet. I know what you're thinking. He shouldn't be doing what he's doing, but he is. And honestly, I've been putting off this stream. Yes, I've been putting it off for at least a little bit of time. Why have I been putting it off? No reason. No reason at all. Actually, a few different reasons, and we'll get into them. But you know what? The intro could be even longer if I wanted to be. I could go replay it. That shit is 9 minutes long. 9 minutes. 9 whole ass minutes. And you know what? I would play the whole thing just to be funny. But you know what? Like, after about like 4 minutes, I feel like, all right, you're pushing it a little bit. Whatever. Anyways, welcome to Griftcast IRL, hosted by me, Manuel Chavez III, or the Turd, depending on how you know me. And boy, Griefernet, griefing, Star Citizen. It's time to open up the books and talk about it. And I felt like talking about it in a setting such as this would make it a lot more of a level playing field, because when we evaluate tactics, strategies, and actions, an equal and opposite reaction is necessary in order to take the force on and, I guess, expose it or whatever. And I'll be honest with you, not really exactly the way that I imagined all of this going. I thought it was going to be a lot simpler and easy, and people were going to be cool, and we're going to be like little neo Hitlers or whatever. And honestly, I don't know what I was thinking. I just wanted to have fun. And that's where I'm going to preface this whole thing. And I'm not trying to, like, say, oh, I feel bad about all the shit that I did, because I fucking don't, man. I don't. I actually enjoyed every second of it. I enjoyed all the salt and the tears and the killing and the terrorism and everything. I mean, I'm not apologizing for any of that shit, honestly. And if you fucking thought I would have, well, guess what? You're wrong. You're wrong. And it's all right if you're wrong, people get wrong all the time, like I thought I was, you know, I thought I was right about Griefernet, and they were just like regular ass people like you and me. But you know what I found out is that they're not. And I guess I got to talk about it, right? Like, I didn't have to talk about this. I don't got to bring any of this up. That's why it's a 2.5 stream, is because I haven't actually, this isn't actually a real documentary, because we're not really, a documentary and whatever. We're more of an experience. An experiencer. Yeah, an experiencer. Yes. So, main thing here to think about is that our lives have been pretty crazy for the last couple of months, because we decided to take our gameplay loops and get bigger with it. And what a lot of people don't get, this story apparently has a lot of different levels, because it was almost like I was fated to join Griefernet by people, right? It's almost like it was fate. But then now where we sit, honestly, it could go any way, right? Like, like I definitely won the first war, and then, now a new war is starting, and it's going to be the real question is, who's going to go farther in the war of the grief, right? That's really just it. That's really just it. And, I'm not going to say that I didn't have fun, because I had fun, right? Like, we got great videos. Like, we got Griefernet stealing the Edris, which is probably one of the craziest experiences that we had in the Star Citizen game. So I'm going to play the footage for it. The footage also does have all the audio and comms.
Are you able to self-destruct the Idris?
So, there's Sepher right there.
Not hit that
And
button.
every
Why
other
don't you
person
test it?
with all of their names.
Test it
and
real
who's
quick.
in.
Try it
No,
out.
don't
No.
fucking
Probably
You don't even
backspace, baby. For science.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Honestly, I got lots of that shit. Honestly, I don't even know if I got enough time to go through all of it, but I kept together meticulous, copies of stuff from at least 2024 and beyond. So it's not like I'm missing anything, and I got a wealth of screenshots from, all of the shenanigans that basically happened throughout the time period that are probably going to be mostly useful. But I figured to start out in the situation and speak on it would be the best thing. And honestly, I used to get killed by Griefernet all the time when I was playing the game as like a streamer because I used to stream Star Citizen, not to very many people or whatever, but I enjoyed playing the game and I figured, oh, I'm gonna stream and I already stream other games anyway, nobody watches, so what does it really fucking matter? And I started experiencing all that the streamer community in Star Citizen has to offer, and it's very small. And apparently, it's very cutthroat in ways that I didn't even imagine were possible. Where if you're not down with the Troons and the Goons, well, you might not be finding yourself in the best of place. And starting off, when I first started playing Star Citizen itself, like it was mainly because of a streamer, right? Cobra TV was the streamer. I don't even think I can go watch his shit anymore or whatever because I got banned from his channel, which is relevant to all of this story. But yeah, Cobra TV, right there. That was the guy. He's got a YouTube. He's got his other stuff. And honestly, when I started playing with them, I was just playing the game and enjoying it because I was on the other side. I was brand new. I didn't know anything about the game, and I had a lot of fun. Right? Like I think I had a lot of fun hanging out with these guys, but ultimately they were mean to me. They kicked me out of the group because I said the F word, which is, fag, and they asked me to. And apparently that was enough to get me booted from the org. And, I guess there was things going on in the background that I didn't know about, but apparently Cobra TV had a huge beef with Griefernet. And he goes around claiming that the guy that started Griefernet, Sepher, um, basically is his son or something of that nature, which is very strange, obviously, super strange. So all I know is that this Sepher guy added me one night and then immediately was trying to kill me on my stream. And that's just kind of how it was, right? Like, he wasn't like my friend. I didn't know who he was. All I knew is that he was trying to kill me. And back then, I was super bad at the game, so killing me wasn't that hard. And sure, after about 5 or 6 times in a row, you get kind of fed up with it, but I never really thought too much of it. And I had no idea about who Griefernet was or what they operated on, what they did, anything like that. Like, completely didn't know these guys. But apparently, because that dude, or I accepted his friend request and it allowed this Sepher guy to go attack Cobra TV, that was a bad situation. And coupled with being a disgusting bigot, I was thrown out of the organization. And I kind of was just like, shit's fucked up, man. I didn't think I was going to get done like that by good old Cobra TV, but guess what? I did get done like that. And I thought everything was all cool and gravy. So, anyways, I spent the next almost 2 years, man, doing other shit, playing with other orgs, not even like being too much of a griefer. My griefing days didn't really even start till very recently, I guess. I mean, yeah, there was like a good year before I like quit playing for 6 months where all I was doing was flying around the stations and killing people. But I wasn't a member of Griefernet. Griefernet was coming and killing me and, calling out all the big shit. So whatever. I finally decided that I'm going to try to figure out what the fuck is going on with this Griefernet situation. And I watched some videos on the internet. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. They got a YouTube channel, right? I was watching a couple of these videos and how they were treating the streamers. And I thought I understood really what they were all about. You know what I'm saying? I thought I knew what they were going to be getting down with their idealisms behind the game were. And obviously, I come to find out that it's a lot, crazier than you really actually think. I mean, sure, they hate streamers and stuff, but the insidious levels of things seem to go very deep, right? But I like the videos, so I went ahead and decided to join up with them, and it wasn't really that hard, right? Like, there was actually a group. I think it was called the Council of Griefer Management. Yeah, the Council of Griefer Management. There's a website and everything. associated with it. So they told us that if you want to join them, you could go play and be a part of their group. I was watching their little videos and shit like that. Joined their Discord from here, and then eventually got into the main group. So, that's how I basically did it. It was pretty easy. There's a link to their actual Discord somewhere on this goddamn thing. I think it says that this join us right here. It actually links you to the Discord channel. I can't join it because I'm already banned from their Discord. And we'll get into the reason that I'm banned from their Discord, but for now, it's safe to say that it was pretty easy, and it's a public Discord. Anybody can join it. There was CIG members that were in the Council of Griefer Management Discord, which is basically where you go to make entry into the Griefernet hierarchy of things, which is rather interesting to really think about if you've ever tried to think about it in any way, shape, or form. So, getting into what happens in this game and how this group operates is kind of interesting, I'd have to say, because I was in the Council of Griefer Management for a while until they finally allowed me to join the Inner Sanctum, which is also another public server. It's like if you have the invite, you can join it. But in that server is where they basically build everything, and it's like the Griefernet main community server. And for the entire time that I was in the group, I think I started like in September of 2023. Now, a lot of people seem to proclaim that I was in Griefernet way before that, and anybody that seems to proclaim that seems to be wrong because, you know, I know when I joined, it was pretty recently. And being as of recent as it was, to think about what's actually happening with the Griefernet situation and how these individuals decided to come together and fight with each other or fight other people, it's very interesting to me because I feel like their methods were actually pretty good. They seem to be very organized for a bunch of loosely organized individuals. Like, honestly, if you're watching what's going on right now, this was actually pretty awe-inspiring to think that when Griefernet took the Idris, it was just three players that were on a server and found the Idris and got onto it, basically took out guards and took it over. And then we started within minutes, right? We had an entire crew of people in Discord ready to defend from a bunch of different orgs because obviously there wasn't enough people in Griefernet to make things happen by themselves. So they have a bunch of other feeder orgs where you look at the side over here, you'll see Hit, Devil, IP, all the connected orgs, the interconnected orgs that, now I have to worry about these people because they probably don't like me very much anymore because I'm going to give out all their secrets. But irregardless of any of that, it was pretty cool to see how well organized it could be when you have a bunch of shitheads together that, really only want to do one thing, which is blow shit up. And even more so, the tactical feats that are available, you're looking at footage directly from one of their best pilots or whatever during the entire event. He was sitting in the chair where you can't even shoot anything. He was just like, take a video, right? Where we had other people that were actually manning the battle stations and the guns. And then we had a whole entire complement of a fleet that was behind them, basically defending this thing. Not normal shit that you would do, even for like a big Bob org or any of the other PvP orgs out there. I don't see them trying to pull shit like this and pulling it off like quite the way that we can. Actually, as I remember it, a lot of them were trying to come after them and kill all of us. But you know what? The crack pilots like me and Sepher apparently were able to take those bitches down very easily. I don't know. What I do know is that things didn't really seem to be bad in the first pretense until, you start talking to some of the people that are inside of the organization, right? There was a lot of, I don't know, undue hatred for different types of people. Like, they really didn't like the furry culture. I can understand that. They really didn't like the trans community. I guess I can understand that too. Um, they would make a lot of fun of gay people. Cool, 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 cool. They would drop what I would have to have considered some very colorful language on things. And, let me be clear, is that Sepher outwardly was really trying to clean up their image. And he was even booting people out of the organization for saying some of the more colorful words. And many of those people, I guess maybe have some understanding or at least feel the same way I do about this entire situation. Because obviously they were sold an organization that was loosely based of individuals that does a whole lot of stream sniping and other shit. And yeah, I kind of like changed. And I was there in the very beginnings of the change, right? Like they were trying to expand themselves and they were trying to lock down a lot of the racism and hatred, but on the same at the same time, all of the ranking structure of the entire thing is Nazi based, right? Where they call it like the guy that leads the org calls himself the Griefing Führer. Yeah, think about that. Think about that. And now, can I outwardly say that they're actual fucking Nazis? Well, no, but you know what? It seems like a lot of them, have some ideas of some, you know, pretty weird shit, pretty strange shit that you probably don't want to deal with or whatever. I tried to just make it about, doing events and griefing, but, obviously anytime somebody starts talking about political natures, you start getting people to throw around on. But it is what it is. I mean, honestly, the most heated that it ever got in this entire organization seemed to be over whether a hot dog is a sandwich or not. And then to the point of that literally Sepher had to ban anybody talking about sandwiches in the organization, which is, I mean, objectively funny. That's funny. I don't give a fuck who you are. That shit's funny. So, the more that we decided to take on the situation, for the most part, I just kind of like hung back and was just paying attention. And for the most part, Sepher is really a guy that doesn't seem to actually like stream sniping or pad ramming or putting anything, putting another ship into another ship to get an explosion out of it. That's just not his style. He always wanted people to kill shit with guns. He didn't like torpedoes or anything. And, obviously, he'd be pissed off that I'd even be talking about any of this stuff. But honestly, I got no respect. If you got no respect for me, I ain't got no respect for you. Your shit is forfeit. I'm going to talk about whatever I want, right? Which should lead me into this is that I spent a long time, just being quiet. People are bitching. And then the thing that always seemed to get to me was the streamer situation where they would talk shit about streamers. Like, oh, streamers are bad people. And streamers are the bane of our existence, and streamers have destroyed gaming, which are all definitely valid arguments. I still don't understand the streaming world after many years of doing it, and even more so, I don't understand the people that watch streams or even like streams, and that's probably why my stream itself has become the Griftcast, is because that's how I see streaming as a whole. Is that anytime you're going to load up your computer and do a cast, you're basically grifting or busking. And I mean, how is that any different than anything else? I mean, and the whole entire culture of streaming seems to be almost a grief in itself, right? Like, if you look at it, streamers are just griefing themselves and other people for, fake internet views that apparently get you to somewhere. But all of it really just rolls back into the almighty dollar. So, when we talk about ideology and the reasoning behind these guys and what they do seems to be, pretty much just that, right? Like, I don't know, a great deal of the individuals that are in that work, be stream sniping like a motherfucker, right? It's like one of the number one things they do. I got lots of proof of it over here. Like, this is just the 2024 folder, but it's long. It's long. And, every single event, even people that they've actually got after with their points of views and whatnot, to the point that, we even got Cobra TV up in here. Cobra TV. Hey, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. It's fucking Cobra TV.
I'm less than 10 mil away. Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Still trying to get myself for it.
And most of this stuff is stuff that's been collected over time from all of their different hits, because in their actual Discord server, they have places where they keep, basically records of their kills and whatnot. So anytime they've gone after somebody, hit somebody, killed somebody, or whatever, there's obviously a record of it, to the point where they got usually both sides. So they have them killing you plus the reaction of you killing you. And then it's just all hoarded within their Discord server, like fucking pack rats and shit. So, I've just collected a lot of the different stuff that has been available to it. And for the most part, like, there are people inside the Griefernet that, I actually like, right? Like, there's people that are actually pretty cool in there, though. And I'm not going to say that, Sepher himself is a bad dude. I just think that he's got some bad ideology, right? Got some bad ideology. His LARP is just a little bit too big for my taste, right? Like, I went as far as I could possibly fucking go. Right?
Fucking sin.
I went as far as I could go with listening to them and how they were doing shit, and like biting my tongue. But eventually, you can only listen to stupidity for so long, right? You can only listen to people have bad and invalid opinions for so long. So I kind of like decided to give up on being nice with these people anymore. And I'm like, dude, if you're gonna keep talking shit about streamers, and I'm sitting right here, I'm still a streamer. I still stream every fucking day. Okay, I don't stream video games or Star Citizen anymore, but you know what? Like, I ain't your fucking punching bag, Like, if you're gonna talk shit, you better be able to take shit that's being talked back. Like, where in this equation did it ever become a situation where just because you're the leader of an organization, you think that you can just degrade and demean people? You can't. And then, for a guy like me who degrades and demeans himself, just for fun, like, obviously there's got to be something going on in your shit. And obviously discovering what the crux and the bane of the existence and the reasoning behind why Griefernet exists in the first place, it's pretty interesting, because, I mean, it's mostly Sepher's idea, right? Good old Sepher coming up with Griefernet because he wants to be like the big griefers of old, right? He wants to do some big shit that's gonna, really get him some recognition and infamy. But he wanted all the recognition and infamy to be hidden behind a mask. He wanted it all to be to himself, right? Like, he acts like he doesn't want to be a streamer and he wants to be known, but all the outward actions of somebody that does that, making videos, having a YouTube channel, all of this shit coalesces into an individual that's trying to build that type of platform in the future. You don't just fucking grief and kill people and post the videos and never expect to, get some kind of recognition. And maybe you are looking for recognition, or at least people to tell you that they like the things that you do. And, be honest, I had fun, right? I'm not denying that, I did all that shit, because I've already admitted I did all that shit. I got videos of me doing all that shit. Obviously, I'll take my ban or whatever the fuck because of it. If you need some help to report me or whatever, just fucking hit me up. I probably got the video for you. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you my side. You have your side. You have a nice report or whatever. Because I play on a level playing field. I got more information than you do. So I'm going to give you the information, and I'm going to let you beat me down. Or at least make you think that you're beating me down. But it's like, am I really playing Star Citizen all that much anyway? No, I was spending some time with these guys to figure out, what their operation was and how it all worked, and, how it was all basically built on fucking matchsticks. So I decided to take my leave. And, honestly, what seems to have spurred all of this stuff off was the fact that I got booted out of Griefernet because Sepher doesn't like getting told that, hey, if you don't have a good opinion on something, or if you're not knowledgeable enough on it, shut the fuck up, right? Like, that's basically it. And I've been sitting around in Star Citizen for long enough, dealing with the cheating aspects and the fucking cheaters, to the point where I've actually had actual cheaters fucking with me, and I'm not even a streamer. They're just coming and finding me And remember, I'm not fucking streaming or anything like that. Like, their whole fucking goal is that, oh, I know Defango's there, I'm gonna go get him. So, if you want to talk about who's doing bad stuff, the only people that could get me were literally cheaters. Yeah. And it's really where this all goes, is because anytime that I would bring up cheating and Griefernet, Zephyr would get very, very suspicious or upset or suspect and try to shut down any and all talk about it, which is really funny considering the fact that if you go in, they have like macros for stuff that they say, and they're always talking about the Griefernet hack client. Yes, the Griefernet hack client. So, does it exist? I think, yeah, it does actually. And that's the crazy part about it, is that, I never got into the upper echelon of the situation, but I am the noticer of things. I'm real good at noticing things, and I pay a lot of attention to people's skill and accuracy and other things within these gaming situations. And, like, I hate to admit it, but, like, I am one of the better pilots in Star Citizen, but there's still at least 50 to 100 people that are ahead of me that can fucking rock my shit in a second. But all that playing field got leveled when we put into master modes, right? And I've been playing on an alternative account and basically shithousing most of these people pretty easily. Until, well, the cheating scene comes back in, right? And where we left off in all of that during the Rings 2 documentary, right, after they were talking about the toxic community, right, we started bringing up the cheaters again. And we were looking into Nightfire and who was behind it. And we figured out that one of the guys inside of Griefernet named Reese, part of the femboys now, was very, very knowledgeable on the guy that created Nightfire, knowing his name and various other information and volunteering it without any type of, ask or questioning. And I think that that's really what was going on, because they have a guy named Heavy Bob in Griefernet, and Heavy Bob is a very interesting character. He seems to be anti-cheating and stuff like that and all of that nature, but at the same time, like, all the stuff that I had already put out there literally never seemed to have existed in his brain. And even more so, he didn't seem to really be doing a whole lot to, I don't know, weed the people out that were allegedly using or utilizing any of this stuff. And that's basically what happened with me, is because, playing on, I was playing on my alt, trashing people, but all of a sudden, I switched to my main account with Defango, right? And I go into, Arena Commanders to say, okay, well, when people don't know it's me, most of the time, they're leaving me alone. They don't know it's me. So, I don't get 2v1, 3v1. People don't randomly just start blowing me up for no reason. Go back on your main account, all of a sudden, it's like people find out that you're in there and then they come after you, and then weird shit starts happening, right? Unexplainable shit. And it all seems to be rolling in. So you ask the question, you say, hey, are you using like a DMA, or is that a device or something like that? Because all of a sudden, you don't miss, like, ever. And, I've been playing this for a long fucking time, and, my aim's not the best, but, like, statistically, you should have missed by now, right? Like, with how this game is. But nah, man, like, every fucking single shot that you're shooting is hitting directly, which is really weird. It's like you never miss. And the one thing that we looked at a couple of months ago, or at least a year ago, when we were looking at the actual Rings documentary and talk about the cheaters and shit like that, we noticed an uptick in a lot of these cheating websites. These websites that sell cheats have now started offering DMA, or direct memory access device cheats, that basically can adjust the way you're playing. And back in the old flight model, before master modes, it was probably very useful, but only to a certain point because of the desync in the game. And now that they've slowed everything down, it's a lot more omnipresent, to be exact. Like, if you're just like even a player that's been playing for a year or two, and you come up against somebody that's got, a system on where they're basically getting extra auto aim and be able to basically set up macros to do certain things, like we make them move up, down, left, or right more like an NPC, it's going to change the way that things are. Now, I didn't really have any evidence that this individual was actually doing any type of cheating other than the fact that, they had a rage boner for me. It's called rage cheating, right? When people utilize cheats and they just go into a place just to kill everybody and everything. It's not that like it matters that much, but the fact is that I know ever since the Reese character left Griefernet for femboys, like those femboy individuals seem to super dislike me for whatever reason. I guess they don't think that I think they should exist or something like that, even though I ain't ever said some shit like that. I just said that, it's more like a mental deficiency and they don't like getting told that, they're mentally deficient or whatever. But that's, that's just what it is, right? But to have somebody show up and just keep doing it over and over and over, for me, it wasn't even about that. I was just trying to see, where I could get them to go in the situation, to the point where I even got them to look up this DMA thing in a video, and they were like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, okay, so you don't know what it is. Interesting. But yeah, that's what got me booted out of Griefernet, right? They got me booted because we started talking about it. That person was trolling in the Griefernet Discord about it, and then Sepher booted me because he was like, "Well, I know more about this stuff than I lead on, or you could have a good time somewhere else." So I was like, "All right, man, like that's cool. You just blowing people out of here left and right. You don't care about anybody's opinion or anything else." And you're trying to keep this air of superiority, which doesn't exist. This is a guy who lives in Utah, who basically doesn't even have a car right now. His car actually broke down because he got a recall notice on it, but he never actually fixed it, and then took it in to get it fixed. So the reasoning behind him was that he was going to start a GoFundMe and then put it out to his Griefernet people and other people that he trusted to basically help him pay for the repairs on his car, right? And it took a long time to get any information out of him about it. He was really cagey about the whole entire thing, but like I was honestly trying to help him out, and it was just kind of a situation where I was just like, wait a minute, like I thought this guy was maybe older than he actually is. Seems to be a much younger individual. He lives with his grandma. Uh, like just fucking hilarious. Actually, it's really fucking funny. Like, bro, you live with your grandma. You had like a nice vehicle. You fucked it up because you never took it in for the recall notice, and your big idea was to basically dox yourself to your organization and beg for money to get it fixed. But then you didn't actually get it fixed, did you? No, you didn't. You spent the money on what? Right? Because I remember kind of grilling him, being like, well, your car caught on fire. Uh, it's probably not going to start again, especially if it was something electronic. There was a recall on your vehicle that literally was supposed to stop, having a whole fucking fire and shit. And I guess he just never figured that out. Like, at one point, I found out that he never even actually called his insurance company, and I'm like, well, you pay for insurance, dude, so you could just say that you ran it into a pole and it caught fire, or that'd be insurance fraud, but you know what I mean. I mean, you just call your insurance, say, yeah, my car caught fire randomly. See if they're gonna pay for it because you probably got a loan on that shit, and if you pay for Gap, like there's 1,000 different fucking things that you could do in that situation. I've been in that situation, I understand, and it just kept dawning on me that, this guy that was trying to act like, he's the greatest griefer that ever was kind of a fuck up, actually. Kind of a fucking dumbass, all right? That's what I'm going to say, And I can say that because I'm not a fucking dumbass. I got a nice, clean car, got a job, I ain't fucking begging other people for money and shit. I just keep saying, I need to manifest 10 G's. Somebody just give me 10 G's. That'd be nice. To pay off my car, right? But at the end of the day, I'm going to be stuck making that money, right? I'm going to be stuck making that money. Once I found out that, we gave him money, he took it to the dealership. The dealership wasn't going to do anything about it because it's out of warranty, obviously. We never actually found out if the insurance was going to do anything about it, but it seems like they didn't do anything about it. So, the money that he got donated, some like 2 G's or whatever for getting his car fixed, like, we don't know what happened to it. I mean, obviously, it probably got paid into getting that done, but then, he still needed a way to get to work. And an electric bicycle was the way that he chose, even though, I sent him a bunch of fucking cars in his area, like Toyotas and shit, for like $1,500. That would be, not the greatest looking motherfucker, but he would be able to go. Yeah. I'd give you 10K, but yeah, I know you give me 10K, Christina, but that fucking dude you gave it all your money to ain't even talking to you anymore. Dudes are fucked up. Yeah, this guy that I donated money to on his GoFundMe now kicked me out of his org. Is like, fuck you. And honestly, I got a lot of PTSD from that shit because of what Cobra DV did to me. I was like his donor. I fucking was like a subscriber on both his YouTube and his Twitch and shit. Then he gonna do me like that, and then blackball me, get me blackballed in almost every other organization to the point where I only had a few options and none of them were good, and I still ended up in Griefernet. And then when I get into Griefernet, come to find out I'm getting blamed for all the shit that Griefernet did while I wasn't even a part of Griefernet. So I'm just the shittiest motherfucker ever, and that's where it gets me. Right? That's where it really gets me is that, these guys were doxing people already, right? Like they were doxing YouTube creators, they were doxing Twitch creators. I got evidence of said doxing. Like here's where they were actually talking about popular Twitch creator Arc VR, where their guy, quizzically Dustin, who's literally the fucking he's one of their capo, I guess. He's one of the top members, top leaders, one of Sephiroth's IRL friends or whatever. And Dustin seems to be like an IT guy that like loves to dox people and shit like that. I told them, you're gonna dox me. I already fucking doxed myself. I mean, all my shit's out there or whatever. I got guns and shit. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, what the fuck, man? You guys gonna call CPS to my house? You're gonna be fucking around with other people, and that's really where the thing gets into the situation that's crazy is that, like we got evidence of them going after different people, different individuals. We have one of their guys, Gene Gerard, right? Gene Gerard fucking was literally view botting and follow botting various different channels with the help of one of his other individuals. And I mean, some of the guys, like Gene Gerard, fucking takes it to an extreme where his only game loop is going after streamers and shit like that, and he tries to kill them 4, 5, 6 times a day, and it's like they hardly ever ban him for that shit, right? They never do anything to him. So, honestly, the more I look at all of this, the more that I think that, yo, dude, why is this guy spamming my fucking chat, yo? Cut it out. Anyways, so looking at what they're doing and how they're interacting, and then how they just decided that they wanted to do whatever it is that they're doing now, it just kind of put me in a bad place because it's supposed to be about fun and they're supposed to be keeping it in the game, but from what I've seen, they don't keep it in the game. They actually take it a little bit farther outside of the game, Like, I'm okay with going into some other organization's Discord to get information about things so that we could go hit their events and shit like that. But, going any farther outside of Discord, which is, a gaming platform, right, that everybody uses, so you can't make the argument that, oh, well, it's bad that they go into Discord. Well, you fucking go into Discord. That's where all the information is. Like, invalid argument. But anything outside of that, when it comes to doxing, getting people's names out there, willingly doxing people because they're your enemies and shit, like, you're taking it way too far for a fucking video game. And the fact that I'm actually seeing real proof of it, and then I've actually heard them talking about reminiscing about what they've done to people and whatnot, and how they got CPS called on somebody, and this and that, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, bro. It really don't, right? It really don't. And that's what just gave me carte blanche because, I figured a couple of weeks ago I told this guy I was going to teach him a lesson. I was like, well, like, you're being kind of an asshole, bro. Like, I was like, you keep talking shit about streamers and you're like trying to nag on me like I'm lower than you. And I was like, you're the one complaining about getting money and needing all this shit. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't get what you're trying to do. So, it is what it is. So, after he booted me out of Griefernet, I'll go ahead and like let you in on the little secret or whatever what I did. So, I have 2 Discord accounts. One of them got taken over after I got hacked because of a stupid video game or whatever. I had to create a secondary Discord, so I got all of my information within Griefernet for my kills and everything transferred over to it. And when they banned me, it was on my secondary Discord account. I was using it while I was waiting for my primary Discord account to get cleaned up so I could, use it actually because the shit that the hacker was doing was kind of interesting or whatever. Got a lot of screenshots about it and whatnot. So, I changed my Discord profile picture to a picture of Sepher, and then I changed my Discord name to his name. Yep, that's what I did. That's how I did him. And I did it almost immediately, right? Because I was just like, all right, well, fuck me. You're going to block me and not allow me to have speak my piece. You're just going to boo me like that after all I've done for you, you fucking cretin? I'm like, all right, dude. Well, guess what? I've been in the organization long enough to know exactly what really drives you and your friends and how far you're intending to go and all of this stuff. So if you're kicking me out of your organization, too sweet, then I have to take all that information that I've understood and make sure that, I don't become a victim of any of that shit, right? Because they do take it out of the game. They go and stream snipe motherfuckers and watch every single stream that they do because they want to know every little detail of every little thing that you're doing. I've dealt with people like this before, haven't I? Why, yes, I have. So, now that we've been able to take this situation to where it was, I basically was like, all right, well, let's see what they do. Right? Griefernet, the big bad boys that are against censorship and, want to be seen as evil or whatever. What are they going to do when somebody, instead of going high, goes even lower? But am I really going lower? No, because I already knew exactly what their repertoire was and how they go after people. And part of the reasoning behind him doing like a fucking GoFundMe, because yes, you do get his information, but he also gets your information, doesn't he? And sure, people can still donate anonymously, but it's only anonymous on the page. It's not anonymous to him. Think about that, folks. Think about that. What's up, Doc Rocks? I see you out there. Much love. So, after they decided to do this, I gotta go look at the Griefernet org page, right? They're terrorists, right? They're terrorists without borders. That's what they say, right? And what's their manifesto? Manifesto. Griefernet's a coalition of criminals of high caliber that thirst for combat in all forms and is intended to be an underlying network for subterfuge, information, and community disconnect. We classify ourselves as a terrorist organization and a place dedicated to the disenfranchised with no ties to rules of engagement or etiquette. Members are free to utilize every advantage afforded to them within the game. Right. Yeah. So if I know that they take it out of the game, what's my recourse here? Right? Because, they can mess with the business, they can mess with the channels, they can mess with anything else. So I already told them is that, I don't play nice anymore. Usually, if you're going to hit me 1x, I'm going to hit you back 4x. So I made a move. One simple move, right? Changing a Discord profile picture and a name, but you gotta admit that that account was in a shitload of different Discords. Every Discord associated to Griefernet, as far as every fucking other Discord account too, because I was using that account allegedly to spy on people in other Discords for what people said. But I don't think people realize the reasoning behind me joining all these different Discords or whatever is because I wanted to show that, you guys may have 50 plus members or whatever, but I've been able to take on organizations that are far bigger than you guys by myself and win. So, I know everything about you guys. I know how you act. I know who does what. I know your names and your faces and all this other stuff. And even if you thought I didn't know, well, I know all of it. Because y'all use everything that's afforded to you, right? You guys got no ties to the rules of engagement. So, and I told them that I accepted their terms. And I was like, all right, well, game on then, game on. And realized that I don't negotiate with terrorists, and that's what they are, is that they're terrorists. So, am I going to negotiate with the terrorists? No, I'm going to post that terrorist face all over the place and just let them know that, hey, man, in the large and short of it all there, Sepher, people dislike you a lot more than they dislike me, right? Why is that? It's probably because I'm not a fucking asshole. I'm not LARPing trying to be something that I'm not. I know exactly what I am, right? And I know what lengths that I've done. And I've done all of this shit before. And if you allowed me to be around your periphery and thought that you were going to be able to get one over on me or punch me in the gut and not get anything back, well, I'm sorry to say that, lesson learned for you, right? Because now everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that you went to every Discord imaginable and got them to kick me out of it because of what? What did you have to tell them? You had to identify yourself, right? I made you do that. I made you put yourself out there in a way that you never wanted to do, and it's affected you deeply, hasn't it? To the point where they patch banned you, didn't they? For Star Citizen, right? Why did they patch ban you? It's probably because some fucking asshole was claiming to be you doing some shit. Pretty fucking easy, if I don't say so myself. I think the thought of it, or what they call it, is asymmetrical warfare. Because that's what I've been in with Griefernet ever since, my untimely demise, right? I've been in asymmetrical warfare. And you gotta think that these guys got no ties to the rules of engagement. They're willing to go as far as to saying, and I've seen evidence of exactly how far that they're willing to go. And I mean, I've heard stories from other YouTubers and stuff about their lengths and natures and whatnot. And, honestly, yeah. Seems like I'm more or less just defending myself because, they were going after this guy, right? And maybe, just maybe, the things that they saw happen a couple of weeks ago are a little more interconnected than they thought. Because what was Griefernet doing right
we
before this?
protect.
You never know, but
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, what was Griefernet doing right before all this? I think I posted a video of it actually, didn't I? Yeah. It's actually why I got banned for a couple of days. So no, I didn't get banned. Which was it? Oh yeah, this was the Gooter Protection Squad.
We know that you having an issue with these guys. We can actually help you.
Yeah, it's honestly not too big of a deal, but I mean,
Yeah. Is it?
Operation Commence Stick Sucking. They're still funny. If you're like 12. Yeah. Now everybody knows. You're right, Doc Rocks. When you deal with juvies, they operate in Discord like they have privacy. They be stupid. Yeah, but this dude's not a juvie. He's at least in his early 20s or whatever, maybe late 20s. Either way, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What really matters is the fact that we went through all of this stuff, and that's where we've been sitting at, right? Like, I haven't brought out any information from him. I've been trying to keep myself, from going too far, but, I got a lot of goods, my friends. I got a lot of goods sitting right here, right? I got a lot of information that I'm willing to push forward into it. It's just how to do it, right? Because I'm not trying to earn the respect of anybody, any other streamers, none of that bullshit. I could give a shit about them or their opinions or anything that they have to fucking say because you know what? They were never there for me when bad shit happened to me. And honestly, I could murk all of them in the game and I've proven it or whatever. So, there's that. I think ultimately, Star Citizen for me has been like a really interesting experience, but without a huge group. And every group that I've ever been in the damn game has always been the same way, whether it's the Bob orgs or the PvP orgs or the Bill Sim orgs or the Griefin orgs. They all act like they're so fucking different, and they really aren't. They're the same. They're exactly the fucking same. In every way, shape, and form. They do the same shit to other people. And, it's like, I guess I've seen it, and I can honestly say, it's like, all the rumors about Griefernet you heard are true, man. They do stream snipe people. They fucking do dox motherfuckers. They fucking do definitely call the police and shit on other people. I mean, they utilize psychological warfare tactics, right? Like posting videos, doing all of this other shit. If I go over here, I think it's Roy's Guide, right? To the point where they even have an entire listing of a channel of videos that impersonate another fucking creator, right? Like Heavy Bob runs and creates all the videos on the Roy's Guide channel. He does it all, right? And what he did was, I guess, use something like 11 Labs to basically take Ray's Guide. See, look, let me show you. Ray's Guide. It's a thing. See, Ray's Guide, Star Citizen. He took the voice from Ray's Guide, put it through artificial intelligence, and now he can just type words into a screen, and then he can make his own Roy's Guide videos that sound exactly like Ray's Guide, but it's Roy's Guide, which is honestly great. Like, I think Heavy Bob's super talented. He does a lot of great shit or whatever, but, like, he's very angry about Star Citizen, right? In a different way than it seems that Sepher and the other guys is. And it's like, it got me to thinking. It's like, why did Griefernet get started in the first place? And I think it all goes back to Cobra TV, right? Because I guess Sepher used to play with Cobra TV and created him because once he stopped allowing Sepher to participate with them because they kept griefing his events and stuff, like they just kept killing him every time they see him. And I got wrapped up in all of that because he was on my friends list one time because I accepted a random friend request because I didn't know any better. So the saga all started with Cobra, like Cobra was my introduction to all of this stuff. And, he put us two together. We hung out for a while and I ended up doxing Sepher. And I don't feel bad about it whatsoever because fuck that dude. He's not going to listen to people that genuinely don't give a fuck about his weird hang-ups or whatever the fuck. That's fine, right? Cobra, right? Cobra TV. Like I never really had any bad will, but after they started saying that I was like a fucking trans hater and gay hater and all this other shit, like it's just fucked up, man. Like, he totally just, like, turned his back on me in such a way that I just, could never forgive an individual for. But you know what? I took care of the biggest threat that he ever had. Well, Cobra's running around on his live stream with his fucking gun, acted like, oh, his life and his family are in fucking danger. He doesn't even know what danger's about. He doesn't know what they're like. And it's like, Sepher and Griefernet are assholes, but the only thing that they're ever going to be able to do is watch your stream and make you fuck up to the point where you're an adult and you're drinking on stream in front of your children, and then they can get CPS on you because you're drinking and you're walking around with the gun or something like that. But it's always going to be something that you do. And, like, they have limits, right? It seems like there's limits to the stuff they're willing to do. But, I don't think home invasion and, trying to get somebody killed is ever in the cards ever for that. So, like, this weird PTSD that fucking Cobra has doesn't make any sense to me on the situation, because I've literally gotten swatted before. I've had people come after me in real life for all of this stuff. Had people actually stalking me to the point where I actually had to go to the police and get it solved, right? Actually open up litigation and shit like that. The thing that none of these pussy ass bitches would ever do. And I just can't get down with the LARP. So it's like, yeah, we finally decided to figure out what the hell Sepher and Griefernet were all about. And I mean, it's just a bunch of haters, dude. A lot of haters, a lot of cool people. If you can get away from some of their more, I guess, weird views on certain things or whatever, but ultimately, like, the majority of the org is good, right? Like, most of them just want to kill people and, have cool events, but there's just a few bad apples in there that, only want to do one thing, and it's, kill streamers, because that's the thing that they like to do. They get some sort of gratification out of it because they get to see them and their reactions, the way that they interact with it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to help them make the content better. I don't know. Give them free views. Like, it's always good. I'm always going to err on the side of caution when talking about any of that stuff, but ultimately, it's like, I don't see it as being a problem, because people are going to do it regardless. Like, if you ban it from the game and people start getting banned from it, then people aren't playing the game. They're just submitting reports to get people banned, and that's gay. That's gay, right? And I think ultimately, after the last couple of weeks, we basically proved, what lengths that the net is going to go take, right? They're not going to fight somebody. They're not as scary as everybody makes them out to be. And yes, they will do all of the normal internet shit that you would get from, 4J or Kiwi Farms or whatever. I don't think they ever realize that, like, eventually they're going to come up on a streamer that gives no fucks, is more than willing to lose his accounts and everything just to prove a point, and has no problem with building them back up again, because it'd probably get more views at this point, because this channel's fucking stepped on into the absolute grand. I think, honestly, the truth about what Griefernet is that it's just a bunch of misfits, a bunch of disenfranchised people that are trying to create their own little hierarchy of bullshit, which is not any different than any of the other orgs that I've ever been a part of, right? I think the only difference is that there was a little bit more racism and hatred. Sure, Sepher was trying to clean that stuff up to get the public image better, because they were talking to CIG, right? They had CIG in their Discords, right? They had CIG. They had a private channel where they were talking directly to CIG employees. And I think one of the biggest things that people don't even ever talk about with Griefernet in particular is the fact that they're the ones that are getting everybody banned. Part of them filing grievances, and in their Discord, they literally were having all of their different members. So anytime somebody called you an F slur, a retard, or anything else like that, slurs in nature, these guys were screenshotting it and then having it directly submitted to CIG so that people would get 3-day bans, 7-day bans. You know what I mean? So, like, on one end of the spectrum, they act like, oh, they're mad that they're getting banned because people reported them. But what the majority of the player base out there doesn't know is that fucking Griefernet is reporting you back. So every time you throw out a little salt, you know what I mean? You call them the F slur, or you say, get a life, you stupid F slur. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're taking and they're screenshotting, and then they're getting these people banned from the game for a couple of days. So it's not like they're opposed to it. Sephiroth says, "Oh, I don't really like it," but he's not doing anything to stop it. They have a guy that runs the Council of Griefer Management that's named Boxy, who literally has a weekly email of shit that he sends over to Tricadius, the guy that runs most of what's going on in the support section of Star Citizen, to the point where they're getting people banned on like a weekly fucking basis. So like the amount of times that Griefernet has been banned for doing the shit that they do is very small in comparison to the amount of people that they've got banned for killing, right? So they go kill somebody, those people start saying a bunch of nasty shit or trying to dox them or calling them with slurs or bad words, and then they record it, take screenshots of it, and submit it to CIG. And if it happens inside the game, and if they typed it in the game, or they said it through the in-game voice chat, then yeah, they're getting them banned. And I think that's basically the secret of Griefernet, is that they're no different than the people that they say they hate. Like, oh, yeah, they hate streamers because, oh, they're fucking useless individuals not doing anything good for life. And I agree with that. That's why my show is called Griftcast, because I'm making fun of the whole streaming apparatus, right? Like, live a little. But at the same time, like, if you're reporting people in a greater area, you're taking it outside the game and making police reports and all this other shit, like, who's really the fucking pussy in this whole matter, Who's really the fucking bad guy? And obviously, they are. Uh-huh. Like, it just makes a lot of sense, dude. It's fucked up. Like, I never knew how far they went into Cobra, but Cobra literally has PTSD from Griefernet because apparently there was a story that Griefernet sent a girl to infiltrate his Discord, and she did. She was playing with them, and then she was trying to allegedly break up their marriage, right? I don't know if that's actually true, but like that's one of the main things that Cobra's pissed off about. And guess what? That was another Griefernet thing that happened, right? So like they're getting women and they're sending them over, and they tried to like play it off like that's not what really happened. But listening to their stories and the many times that they explained it, yeah, that's basically what fucking happened. I mean, she was kind of working on her own, and yeah, apparently they were like trying to break up this dude's marriage and shit. So do I put it past them for, attacking me in real life or any of that stuff? I mean, yes and no. Like I'm guessing that they'd probably try to do something like that and they'd fail. That's just because I look like this, very meticulously crafted personal identity, but, still got the gun arm. Still got the gun arm. What are you going to do? I don't even need to have one on. I always got one on me. The gun arm. So it's kind of gross, dude. Like, it's gross that the way streamers portray them is a bad thing, but at the same time, the way that they portray themselves and the way that they interact with the community is all bad, right? Like, they're getting into people's discords, they're hitting their events, they're taking joy from it, which, I mean, I guess is really fun, honestly. I go try doing some of that stuff, but when you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, you're literally, almost stooping to life ruination tactics. Well, honestly, the way I look at it is it's an eye for an eye. Right? You're gonna kick me out of your org. You're the last org in Star Citizen that I've been a part of. I don't think anybody's gonna want dirty old Doxing Defango in their joint. So I give up. Right? Like I still play every now and again and go kill people in AC and have some fun, but I'm not Defango anymore. And I don't think there's really anybody that's gonna bring me back to the game. Right? Like I think we figured out everything that we needed to figure out. The cheating scene's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. They've changed everything. Seems like the only thing to do now is just sell off your account and take the losses. Because, got too much heat, right? Got too much heat in the game. And people utilizing life ruination tactics is not acceptable, you know, obviously, but at the same time, when you're dealing with terrorists, all bets are off, my friends. That's the way that they see themselves, and if they don't look at the etiquette or rules of engagement, then if you're going to win that war, well, you got to play on their level, or you're going to get fucked up. So that's really what's going on with Griefernet. Everything that you heard was true. Plus, there's some more in there. And the reason that I made this stream 2.5 is that I'm sandbagging on a lot of different stuff because I got videos and hours of footage that I have been trying to go through, but it's just the fact that I've changed the way I'm working and the way that I'm living, trying to focus on, building something towards the future, right? That doesn't involve streaming, just building businesses, right? It makes me apprehensive to share more because of these individuals, right? Will they come to the level of, say a Kiwi Farms type situation where they're going to have threads and shit on you? I mean, yeah, like I've seen it firsthand. It's just how far are they actually going to go? And I mean, yes, on the surface, it's attacking a fence and, making people cry or whatever about that stuff and getting a few laughs, but once you start getting into the actual seedy underbelly, you'll start to realize why other streamers and YouTubers, whatever, have left the organization. And some say it's because it's anti-trans sentiments or something like that, but I think we all really know is that they're just a little too there's a little too Nazi for some people. But even at the same time, like once the facade is destroyed on who they actually are, I mean, it's pretty clear on what they're up about, what they're going to be up to, and how you got to deal with them. And sunlight, I think, is always the best disinfectant because these people are truly afraid of their own shadow, right? They're truly afraid of the thing that they've created. You might be afraid of it, but they're more afraid of it because they don't want their personality, their person, themselves to be connected to those bad things. And think about it. I'm directly the opposite. I put it out there, I talk about those things, and that's it. Very opposite. Think about it. When you look at all the stuff that I've done and admitted to and cop to, and people give me all kinds of shit for it, I've taken mountains more bullshit to my actual person, and that's what they fear. And I think that's really what it's all about. Is that guy like Zephyr only wishes he could be as ballsy as me and take it all just like I took it. Maybe he thinks he's smarter than he did it, but guess what? Now you got to see if you listened in class and figured out how to handle everything because I'm not giving you any more fucking tips, little bitch. Honestly, you made a mistake and you're going to be ruining that mistake for a long, long time. And like I told you, just leave me the fuck alone. You guys leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. But never forget, you know, who's actually in charge of the situation. It's not you. You could think that you make decisions, but you know what? I make bigger decisions. And I think it's pretty clear that, we've realized who's willing to do what and where we're willing to go. So keep pushing, keep trucking. I don't want to have to expose anything else, but you know what? Rings 3 is going to be coming out, and I think it's going to expose a whole lot of stuff that, y'all didn't want to get out there, right? So think about that. Think about how we move forward positively. I don't have anything to do with y'all anymore, but if you want to play some more asymmetrical warfare bullshit, well then, let's go, boys. I'm more than willing to take all 50 of you on by myself, like on the Houston, and it's the 500. I'll probably still win too, motherfuckers. Actually, I will still win. So, that's really what's up with Griefernet and how they're getting shit going. The three-ring circus of stalkers acting like they're untouchable. But we showed them that, maybe you're not. And at the same time, I didn't really do much. I could have done a lot more. What easy on ya. Very easy. It could be much more of a dick. I could drive them thumb screws much harder. But you know what? I didn't think that you needed a crown of thorns at this particular moment, so I decided to take it only so far. I hope you learned something, and I hope you realize what being a terrorist truly means. And that's pretty much it. Have a nice day, everybody. That's what we do. Back to our normal lives. No more being the griefer king. Now I'm just some lowly little bitch again. I'm gonna go deliver my pizzas, and eventually we'll have that pizza shop. But either way, thanks for joining us. Hope you guys had enjoyed it, but it's time for us to go. Peace out. Have a nice day. Bye bye now.